Durag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Earth Date Y2K 18.02.20. 259 days left until the mid-year elections. It was 35% in the polls that supported this creep. And the last I heard, it's 41%. 41% of our country now support these, I assume, registered voters, because that's who would count, correct? Now support the birther bastard. As far as I'm concerned, anyone who supports the birther bastard now does so with full knowledge of the kind of creep he is. They support the Nazis who invaded Charlottesville last summer. They support the notion of shithole countries. They support the notion of a reality show administration that has its finger on a nuclear button in an era of life and death. They support poisoning our environment, our wells, our streams, anything we eat, and our children with it, so they can grow up and have their children be pain-suffering mutants. These creeps that now support President Creep, they support more and more violence and hatred and shootings because President Birther Creep ran on this. He ran on hatred, he ran on violence. And they always say, the old saying is, the fish stinks from the head. And this creep is supposed to set an example of what being a citizen of this country means. He's working for us. And his example is hatred, racism, violence, ignorance, dereliction of duty, as reporter Thomas Friedman of the New York Times says. Thomas Friedman says this guy is a traitor because he's defying the Constitution. He's violating us. Everyone who has died, soldier and civilian, since this President Malignant has taken office, the blood is on his head. Just think of all the people that have died so far since this creep has been president. President Creep. Dead. Lives snuffed out. Of these school shootings. Dead. Snuffed out. Trump is a traitorous, incompetent, racist murderer now, as far as I'm concerned, as well as a traitor. And those 41% who now support this cancer will do so again 259 days from now when we have our mid-year elections. They will be there 100% to make sure that this malignant creep, this bastard Trump, remains in our life, maybe forever. They will not be like the folks who take the advice of Jimmy Dore, who will vote for no one. And they will do this because, rightly, they believe that the Democratic Party is filled with corporatists, right-wingers, and they stabbed Bernie Sanders in the back. They happen to be right about that too. But they don't vote. They're not going to vote. The Democratic Party decides, and I know they will, to run another corporatist Democrat. These folks aren't going to vote again. The other 59% should be out there on election day, 259 days from now, voting their asses off against this fascist traitor, birther, bastard, scumbag, mother effer. You've got to be out there. You've got to cast your vote. And if by next election day I'm suffering from some fatal disease and I'm able to walk, I'm going to make sure to be there. I want someone to push me there in a freaking gurney if I have to, with the blood thing coming out of my freaking arm. Because I owe it to this country, but I also owe it to the youth of this country, the young people of this country, who have now been victimized by this creep. I owe it to them to make sure that we never again, as they say, have a school shooting, have kids being murdered. But I also say never again should people stay home and not vote and allow a creep, a traitor, a fascist turd from the bottom of the toilet bowl to come into our lives, take over our government, and bring tons of turds with them. There are two main reasons, by the way, that Trump is going to win again. The liberals, once again, do not vote consistently as the extremist right does. Look what happened last presidential election. It's terrible. And you got to also consider money is the most important thing in our sick society. So people will vote for a president based on how well they think the economy is doing. Do you know that 51% of this country, a little more than half of this country, supports the new tax cuts? A New York Times, they call it a monkey poll. A monkey poll. Well, I don't know who's going to vote. I love monkeys, but I guess you got to have, the intelligence of a monkey to vote that you like this tax plan that this creep came out with. But that's the case. There are some people living in this country, if it was raining shit and you told them it was water, fresh water, spring water from Perrier, they'd open their mouths and drink it. Just because the economy is this or that, you got to remember this. The GOP seems to always inherit a good economy from the Democratic Party, from their predecessors. Then the GOP proceeds to fuck everything up, which is going to happen with this tax plan they're doing. I know it. And then the Democrats take control again and they have to fix it. They fix it. People forget. Republicans take control. They mess it up. Democrats fix it. Republicans mess it up. I have to ask all of you out there. Maybe you could ask some of your friends or enemies, whoever you want to ask. How much longer do you want to ride this freaking merry-go-round? How long? Because we ain't going anywhere better. When you're dead, you're not going to be reincarnated and you're not going to be resurrected. This is it. By the way, just to make sure there's no misunderstanding, I want to thank all of those who reminded me that it was the Democratic Party as well as the Russians that brought the curse of Trump on us. Not forgetting GOP gerrymandering, voter suppression, Citizens United. But we all must vote Democratic no matter what, because it is the only party we have now to turn to in our two-party Democratic Republic. Two. So if you don't vote for one or the other, who are you going to vote for? Third party? But somehow, some way, you vote for a third party, it doesn't matter. And that's sick, isn't it? If it was up to me, we'd have a multi-party democracy. Maybe even a parliamentary system like they have in England, like they have in Israel. I mean, we're evolving into a better, more pure democratic republic as long as we don't keep electing fascist, religious extremist turds. The 41% is going to vote 259 days from now. They're going to vote. They're going to be out there. What are you going to do? Well, if they run corporatists, they run a right-winger, a right-wing Democrat. I'll never forget what those creeps did to us, what they did to Bernie Sanders. I'm staying home. I'm not going to vote again. I assure you that that creep is going to be in our lives again. In the meantime, we can't let the Democratic Party get away with this shit. There are people out there working right now. Women running for office. More and more women Matriarchy, matriarchy, please, ladies, run, run, run for something. Don't let your husband make you, oh, where's my supper? Shove that supper up his ass and get out there and run for governor. Wow. I want men to be quaking in their boots every time they even think about messing with a woman. And we have to take over the Democratic Party. Progressive, progressive, progressive. Believe me, my friends, I'm going to vote for any progressive I can in the Democratic Party to support the Democratic Party. Because from here on, the GOP is bound and determined to run whatever fascist, totalitarian creep they can. So I have to go out and support the other side, my side, the left side, the Democratic side, even though it's contaminated by traitorous, corporatists, backstabbing, limousine liberal slime balls. Because I know they will continue on the other side to vote for extremists, and the only thing we can do, and what we're doing now, is take over the party. See, Bill Maher keeps insisting that Mike Pence is normal. Put him in there, you've got something more dangerous than Trump, more intelligent, and will get his agenda through somehow. Mr. Red Grant from Russia with Love look-alike, who will come up behind you and strangle you to death with his religious extremist shit. In 259 days, we must make sure the Democrats take over the Senate and the House to prepare for the ouster of the greatest threat our country has had since World War II and 9/11 in the McCarthy era. Bless Jimmy Dore's heart. I wish I could have been there to help him spit in the other creep's face. Roger Stone was there. You know, Dore didn't have a chance to spit in Roger Stone's face. He had a chance to spit in that other creep's face. But if we do what Jimmy Dore says in the next election and stay home, we are doing worse to this country than shooting it in the foot. We would be shooting it right square in its red, white, and blue heart.